Why in the world would a man who killed a 6-year-old boy be getting released? He should stay in prison for the rest of his life. Better yet, he should have went to death row. The White House is looking into decade-early release of a man who killed a 6-year-old boy. The White House said it is investigating the release of Ronald Exantus. A man who released from prison 13 years early after stabbing an entire Kentucky family and killing their 6-year-old Logan Tipton. It's unacceptable for a child killer to walk free after just several years in prison. Logan's mother, Heather Tipton, said her reaction was people are finally finding out about this. 10 years ago we tried to get the word out, but social media was not what it is now. In 2015, Ronald entered the Tipton home through an unlocked door. He then stabbed Logan, his father, and 2 sisters. Coral Tipton says she and her siblings watched Ronald kill their brother. He did it in front of me, he did it in front of my siblings, and being an older sister who has the obligation anyway to protect her younger siblings. It's ruined. He messed us up. Ronald was convicted of stabbing Logan's dad and 2 of his sisters. He was found not guilty by reason of insanity for Logan's death. He knew exactly what he was doing. They're using mental health as an excuse. Ronald was sentenced to 20 years in prison. The total of 2 consecutive 10-year sentences for each assault in the stabbing series. Why didn't he get the death penalty? The Kentucky Supreme Court upheld his conviction in 2020, while a state board denied him parole in 2021. And deferred it for 2 years in 2023. This month, Ronald was released from prison 13 years before his sentence was set to expire. He needs to be sent back and not ever let out. He is a monster. The Kentucky Department of Corrections said Ronald was approved to serve his mandatory re-entry supervision in Florida, in accordance with the Interstate Compact for Adult Offender Supervision, per KRS 439561. KRS 439510 prohibits offenders specific supervision conditions level and interactions with a parole officer from being released. The Kentucky Department of Corrections told the news that Ronald will remain under probation and parole supervision until the expiration of his sentence, which is listed as ending in June of 2026. You have a killer walking among us. He's just going to kill again. Why are they risking other people's lives? The Kentucky Justice Cabinet released the following statement about Ronald's release. The parole board did not release Ronald on parole. Ronald was reviewed for parole on September 30th, as required by state law. The parole board issued a decision that Ronald stay in prison for the remainder of his sentence. Despite this decision, a provision in Kentucky law required the Department of Corrections to release the inmate on mandatory re-entry supervision. KRS 439-3406. Ronald's former attorney, Bridget, said Ronald called her after he was released. She said she was initially shocked he was let out early because it was such a contentious case, but it didn't really surprise me. If anybody deserved to get out early, it was Ron. He had accomplished so much while he was in prison. She is so wrong on that. He most certainly did not deserve to be set free for what he did to that family.
Exantus trial is now underway in Lexington.
His lawyers admit Exantus fatally stabbed 6-year-old Logan Tipton in Versailles in 2015, but they want the jury to understand why they say it happened. Exantus is accused of driving from his home in Indianapolis, choosing a home at random in Versailles, breaking in, getting a knife in the kitchen, going upstairs, and stabbed the child to death while he slept. The trial was moved to Lexington due to publicity. ABC 36's Kelsey Thord takes you inside the courtroom to show you what happened.
It was an emotional day here at the courthouse as Logan Tipton's family took the stand for the very first time, describing in detail the events that led up to Logan's horrific murder while his accused killer sat silent just feet away.
Dean, do you see the man in the courtroom today?
Yes, I do.
Could you point him out for us?
It's him right there.
tense moments in the courtroom Monday as Dean Tipton, Logan's father, took the stand, describing what happened after his kids woke him up in a panic in the middle of the night in December of 2015.
I hustle up to the top of the stairs, and when I get to the top of the stairs, he's standing there, and he's coming down with a knife to try to stab me with a knife.
You with a knife?
Yes.
Tipton says he fought with Exantus for what felt like a lifetime before police showed up and arrested Exantus. And that's when Tipton said he realized Logan was hurt.
And it wasn't 10 seconds later. He looked hurt, glanced up at me, closed his eyes, and that was it. He died in my arms.
During opening statements, Exantus' attorneys did not deny their client killed Logan Tipton, but say it was due to a psychotic break, and are arguing Exantus is not guilty by reason of insanity. Now, this is expected to be a long trial. The court has it scheduled to go on for about another 3 weeks, and if at the end of that Exantus is found guilty, he could face the death penalty. Reporting in Lexington, Kelsey Thorid, ABC 36 News.
Accused child killer fights to save his own life in a Lexington courtroom. Today we learn more about what police say happened in the hours after they say Ronald Exantus stabbed little 6-year-old Logan Tipton to death as the child slept in his Versailles home in December 2015. Prosecutors say Exantus was under the influence of synthetic drugs. The defense says he's mentally ill. ABC 36's Kelsey Thorid is covering this death penalty trial that was moved to Fayette County from Woodford because of pretrial publicity.
Day 2 of this trial focused on the few hours after Versailles police were called to the Tipton household. And for the first time, jurors got to watch video of a bizarre interview that police had with Exantus just hours after he was arrested.
You just happened to walk through this house and see a child and then decide to stab him?
No, I saw Grey's Anatomy, and then I thought surgery.
Okay. And where did you stab this child?
In the head.
In court on Tuesday, prosecutors showed jurors this full, close to 30-minute first interview detectives had with Ronald Exantus the morning of December 7th.
How did you get to Versailles confession? What did you call it?
In the video, Exantus talks multiple times about the television show Grey's Anatomy. Exantus' lawyers say he, a registered nurse, was obsessed with the show and argued that his continued references to the show during his interview show he was suffering from some kind of psychotic break at the time of the murder.
Ron said, I saw Grey's and figured I saw Grave Road, and that made me think of knives for surgery. I reenacted surgery.
But the prosecution did not believe that argument, saying during his interview, Exantus knew what day it was, his own address, phone numbers, and other information they say shows he was fully aware at the time.
And was he correct about his fiance's name?
Yes.
His first wife's name?
Yes.
His vehicle description?
Yes.
The street name where he parked his car?
Yes.
Now, due to Vice President Mike Pence's visit to Versailles on Wednesday, the judge decided not to hold trial that day. The trial will resume next week on Tuesday at 9 a.m. For now, reporting.
After weeks of excruciating testimony and a controversial verdict, the family of Logan Tipton is speaking out. Monday, Ronald Exantus was found guilty but mentally ill on assault charges, while being found not guilty of murder by reason of insanity. Tonight, Logan's family invited LEX 18's Connor McHugh into their home to share their frustrations and hopes of moving forward.
Kids would get knocked down, and he'd want to stop in the middle of the game and help them back up.
After a painful 24 hours, the Tipton family focused on the good memories Tuesday night.
And we laughed and laughed and laughed. I just remember him laughing about that. It was so funny.
Several generations shared stories of 6-year-old Logan's love for life and kindness to all.
Logan told anybody he loved him.
These stories can only help so much. Everyone is still in disbelief. A jury found Ronald Exantus not guilty of their son's murder by reason of insanity.
I'll never be able to wrap my arms around him again and hear him say, "Daddy, I miss you. I'm glad you're home." I'm never going to get that again. But this man has hope.
I can't explain that to my children. I will never be able to. But I get to deal with the aftermath for the rest of their lives, for the rest of my life.
The Tiptons say they're frustrated with how little jurors learned about Logan during the trial. They also wanted to represent him with shirts and bracelets, but say they were not allowed. They now plan to fight for what they'd call Logan's Law, a bill that would grant more rights for victims' families in court.
It will make me feel like there's justice. If I can help somebody else in Logan's name get the justice they deserve, that's all my son would want, to be one.
With more court dates ahead, the Tiptons say they'll stay strong. They plan to love like Logan and hope everyone else will too. Covering the news in Woodford.
Welcome back. We first told you about this story yesterday, and today we give it the time it deserves. In 2015, 6-year-old Logan Tipton was home with his family when police say a man walked in as a total stranger and attacked. Logan was stabbed to death. His 2 sisters were also stabbed, but survived. Despite how horrific that attack was, Ronald Exantus, who was just released from prison yesterday, served less than half of his 20-year sentence. How did this happen? Well, in 2018, Exantus was found guilty of assault, but not guilty of murder by reason of insanity. We reached out to the Kentucky Parole Board about this case. They told us, quote, in April 2018, a jury convicted Exantus of assault second degree, including jail credit time from before trial. Exantus served 9 years, 9 months, and 25 days of his sentence prior to legally mandated release. He will stay on mandatory reentry supervision until the expiration of his sentence. So what is going on with our justice system that puts a man like this back on the streets? Let's talk about that with Logan's family, who joins me now. His mother, Heather, and his sister, Coral, are with us. Thank you both for being with us. And let us just start with how sorry we are for your loss and everything that you've been through over the past 10 years. How does it feel today to know that Exantus is back on the streets?
It's sickening, infuriating.
There's really no words to explain it. Me and my siblings, we are fearful of what's to come next.
Coral, tell me a little more about that. I mean, you were attacked in your home. This man is now back on the streets. You fear for your safety?
I do. And Ronald Exantus was not charged for murder. And that's the part that is really hard for us to grasp anyway. It's like my testimony did not matter at all. And that's truly just how I feel. I seen the man in my room killing my brother. And now he is just free. It just doesn't make sense to me.
So I would love to ask both of you. So take me back to that day in court when he was not found guilty of murder by reason of insanity. You saw it, as you pointed out, with your testimony there in court as well, Coral. I asked both of you, like, what did it feel like that day? It seems to me the fact that he is on the street is both a combination of the parole board, but also that initial trial that found him not guilty of murder.
Correct. After hearing the verdict of not guilty by reason of insanity, it kind of just felt like, what do we do now? You know, like, we can't try him again. When my mom was trying to explain it to us, me and my little sisters and brother, we were just confused. We couldn't understand the not guilty verdict. I could understand maybe guilty by reason of insanity because this whole crime, this whole case is truly insane. It's sick, and
Right.
It's just, there's no words.
It broke my heart. My heart
Yes,
was already
please.
broken, but it really broke me when They basically told us nobody killed Logan, nobody was going to be held responsible. All I could really do at that point was beg them to give him the max that they could give him for the assault charges. There was nothing else we could do. And I still feel helpless. And now he's out, like walking the streets among us. Like, what do we do?
I'm curious, Heather, has this hung over you as well? Knowing from that day forward that he was only in jail for assault and that he would be eligible for parole, has this day haunted you that he would one day be out there once again?
Yes, it has definitely haunted all of us. My husband and I, we had to take a step back from everything to be able to actually grieve. The whole trial process and everything, it was just all a whirlwind. And then that happened, and Dean and I, we just had to take a step back and heal. And we're not fully healed, but I'm stronger now and he's stronger now. And I feel like maybe we can do something now. Maybe it took him getting out after 10 years for people to see what's going on, that this has happened and we need to do something about it. Something has to be done.
Well, I've seen the quote that your husband has given that if he ever runs into Exantus on the street, that he will kill Exantus. And I can imagine almost every father out there who can place themselves in the situation would feel the same way. I know that I would feel the exact same way as Dean.
Absolutely.
But last question for you. What should be done? You point out this has galvanized you. It's given you fortitude and hopefully pointed out to others what can be done. What should be done? There's a lot of focus here. The parole board, the jury, the judge, the laws in Kentucky. Where do you point to the failure here that put this man back on the street?
We were told that, and the parole board has always denied his parole. We were told that my children got a call in June saying that he would be released for mandatory reentry supervision in October. Apparently, that was a law that was made by the General Assembly. We need help, I believe, federally. This needs to be something that's nationwide. If somebody is that insane that they murder a sleeping little boy that's in his bed that was no threat to him at all whatsoever, that had in the past, prior to Logan's death, exhibited violent tendencies towards children, something needs to be done with these people. There needs to be a place for them to go, not just for a few years, like until the end of their life. There needs to be something somewhere that these people can go. I don't know if it's a mental institution. I don't know the answer to that question, but this is unacceptable. There has to be something done.
Totally agree. Insanity does not excuse you or mitigate the fact that you took, in your case, your son's life. And I'm really sorry, your son and your brother, Coral. I'm really sorry that is where you are right now as a family. And we do pray not just for your healing, but for your safety as well. So thank you for sharing your story with us here today.
Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. Logan was just 6 years old. Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here to subscribe.